Dr. Feshman. If I'm pronouncing it right, I'll put it in the description of the video at some point. But she even talks about how the psychological nature and the evolutionary aspects of women are geared towards basically not having cooperative behavior. So especially when it comes to relationships. So this obviously makes a lot of sense why women don't get along very well and why they have very aggressive behaviors towards the men that they're dating. And it's because they're geared towards not having very cooperative behavior. That was an obvious opportunity for the young lady to have non-cooperative behavior towards the situation, even though it's a situation of embetterment. That's why I even say a lot of times that, people like to blame different aspects about society and life and behaviors, but the world is the way it is, and that's it. And we are just an aspect, an element of how the way the world is. And you can't change it. But what you can change is you, yourself, and your behavior, and maybe your community around you. You can't change the world the way the world is. So it is in a lot of our nature that a lot of things that we do that are negative and negative aspects are evident of our own self-behavior. So her demise in that situation is going to be self-inflicted. It's going to be self-inflicted by the way she thinks and the negative aspects and perspectives that she has. And it's incredibly going to make her relationship extremely toxic. One thing I will say, though, women are much more conscientious of these aspects in a relationship, while men, we just go through the motion of the relationship and we don't think incredibly deep about the power dynamic. Women are constantly thinking about the power dynamic, again, having to do with what evolutionary biologists have said, is that because as men, we have had dominance in forms of power through manpower, kings and whatnot, just, we want their country, we'll take it over with force. Women don't govern that way, and they don't run their power struggle that way. They run it through, even as, like, for example, Dr. Jordan Peterson has said a few years ago, like, women's form of aggressiveness is by innuendo, gossip, and character destruction. They are great at that. And when women are interacting with each other, there's tons of that. Meanwhile, when men interact with each other, we don't do that. And if we do that, it's subtle and it's obvious, and then we move on to another aspect of something that we have more focus on. But that is the immense focus of women all the time, every day. So this new opportunity that could be extremely beneficial to her, she's looking at the power struggle dynamic, not the embetterment, not the benefit, the advantageous opportunity. She's looking at the power dynamic. And she's looking at this like, well, whatever power I'm having over him now, it's going to subtly deteriorate because now I'm going to be living under his roof, and now I'm going to be paying rent to him when he doesn't have to pay rent. He's going to be in power. So I need to figure out how to dominate more of this aspect. Well, since you're not paying much or nothing, I should be paying less than you. I should be paying zero.
So with that being said, most which I saw in a lot of the comments.
And let me just add on to close out that ideology. He should have known this and should be able to have seen this as the relationship has developed.
Right.
See, like I'm saying, women are more conscientious of that. A lot of men are not conscientious of that. That's also why in a lot of relationships, for example, men just give up. They just give up and they just fall under the power of their wife, and their wife just dominates them. We notice a lot. A situation we have where we worked with other men and other individuals where they can't even enjoy the environment that we're around, whether it's work environment or a playful environment, because their wife is calling them all the time to have nominal forms of power and control over them, to the point where they're depressed and everything. But what the man does is, because we're not thinking of power struggles with our wives or with our spouses, we just fall into it and we just think that she's just being a competent or strong woman. We don't actually think of it as a way of her being power or control over us. So we fall into the behavior of just doing what she wants. When in act, she's incredibly conscientious of her behavior is keeping control. She's incredibly
And that
unconscious of
control
this.
is that strong that 80% of the people I'm seeing responding are saying they'd rather stay and renew that lease. Why is it that stubborn? Why are they that stubborn
Yeah.
where they rather not take the offer? And most of them are saying, I'd rather just renew my lease and pay $2,000 a month.
Yeah. Well, again, for her to pay $2,000 a month, she's obviously non-agreeable because she has to have a good job. I
Yeah,
don't care where you are.
yeah.
To pay $2,000 a month, you have to be pretty successful.
Right, true.
Because I mean, I could say right now to own 2 properties right now in the environment that we live in, you could be less than $2,000 a month for 2 properties from where we live at. So for her to not even have a property and be renting and to pay $2,000 a month, she's obviously living in a big city like New York City or LA or something like that, San Francisco, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So she's making high income, so she's probably not going to be non-agreeable. And was this a minority couple?
This was a minority couple, yes.
Yeah. So obviously, black women are very aggressive, and that's also due to evolutionary and psychological aspects about how minorities live in their life when men not being there in general. So women have a lot more aggressive behavior to their mentality. So there's a lot of psychological aspects that you could see from that, and it's a shame. It's a shame because she's the problem that she's going to have is self-inflicted, and she's going to make a very good man run away. He's going to run away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't understand it, Rook. I can't.
Again, with the biologist, Dr. Diana Flesherman, I'm probably butchering her name, but she also talks about, how the reason why bad boy men are so extremely attractive is because a bad boy man is extremely exploitative. You can exploit him. See, a smart, competent man who's very smart and maybe a little boring, highly conscientious, you can't exploit him. You can't exploit him. A bad boy guy, he's fun, he's unbalanced, and he's not organized, and he has behavior about him that could be exploited.
That's a good point. I haven't even thought about that. That's a good point.